Welcome back, my delinquents. We have a VTuber Diddler in the news, and you may be like, whoa, Del, what do you mean Diddler? Don't worry, it's not that kind of Diddler, it's a riddle diddle. And if you know what that means, you're about to cringe either way. Don't worry, I've got you. This is just more of a news story, nothing that crazy, but it involves art thieves, VTubers, and a trending tweet. But let's get into it. So, we're gonna start this story with a meme. Tracing? No. Riddle diddling. And I can only show you some of these because unfortunately the Diddler, VTuber, deleted a lot of their messages due to backlash. Sad, so by the time I got around to the story, a lot is deleted, so I will be trying to upload more stories instead every 3 days, every 2 days, etc. Because I keep missing on deleted gold. It's hilarious, honestly, some of these messages that we missed out on. Oh, they were just constantly going through the comments saying, I was diddling, just completely trolling like a jackass. And I'm not saying all clown tubers are like this, but there's a lot of them. I'm kidding. There's some lovely clown tubers out there. But let's get into it. Let's go into the first post here that set this off. Nah, man, I'm incredibly pissed off. Streaming it is insane. And this is about a artist, Tofi, right here, Tofi, who does emotes. And they found, or someone sent to them, that a VTuber, a clown VTuber, PNG tuber, whatever you want to say here, was tracing their work. And we're going to look at the clip right here. Sorry, you're not missing much with me covering this clown tuber that just blinks. As you can see here, they're probably using a mouse where they just use the pen tool to completely map out anything. I don't even know why they're bothering to do this when it's so close to tracing. You may as well just go over the image. It's not even trying to just use it as a reference. It's very extreme. It's just making their tracing harder. They're literally mapping everything else out to be completely the same, and most of their emotes are done like this. And they seem to take their motif traced over from, I think, 80s Western animation, from what I can tell here. They replied a lot in here with other things, but they don't actually seem to have left many of their messages. And as you can see, they're taking every single frame of the animation to trace it. And yes, they just use... so even more damning, they completely put it over the top to make sure it's right, which is 100% tracing, guys. They're literally putting it over the image to map it out and then changing it to fit it. But even giving themselves a little bit of leeway here. And their defense here was, well, their art is trash, so why are you offended when the art they've made is trash? And it's like, it's nowhere near as good to even be a trace. And I guess it's funny that they're belittling the stuff they're doing, but why do this? Why trace the work? In general, it seems very odd. Just need to do it on an art stream when they don't seem to regard themselves an artist in any way. So they're pretty much just attempting a one-on-one animation style here where they try and take the frames and it's very blatant tracing. And there is a lot in here, and people have started making some really funny memes about the clown thing, just putting things over the top. Sorry going through this, but had to take your mind up. Would you mind me rating my new VTuber design? His name is Paradizzler, the Redizzler. A lot of people were making fun of them. But okay, this is one of their deleted tweets that is gone. It's not traced, it's rediddled from the references. It's not plagiarized. I never claimed it as original. I literally said they're rediddles, which I think taking diddles when it gets what diddled is used for is weird as all hell, but moving on. Creating a new word to avoid calling it copying is insanely funny to me. First thing artists do when reference art is to look at the shape and structure in relation to the blank canvas. And the fact that she started like that, only using one ref, what a choice. Yes, I don't really know what they mean by rediddled. It is just tracing. You can claim it's not original, which is fair, but you can't just say it's rediddled, so you can't get at me. It's a bit weird. And this is from an image too that they seem to also just copied from this one here. They seem to have just taken poses and copied over, which I guess there's nothing against if they're not claiming it as their own, but it seems to me that everything they have is completely traced. So going back again to this, was clowned on a lot and completely just seemed to troll back and forwards, and I'll go to their plays going into them a little bit. They're not a big VTuber, but this is just really funny that this clown VTuber went to such extent to just say, make everything diddled, everything's rediddled, trying to reuse a word instead of just saying, I'm tracing. It's very odd. I'm not the best with words, but I sincerely thank everyone who stood up for me yesterday. Based on their responses, I've decided the best thing to do is block and move on. Most of the time, unfortunately, that's all you can really do with these kind of people because they don't care about consequences and they really don't care about what other people feel in the situation. And honestly, they are most likely suckling at some clout. They are looking to suckle the teat that is clout. They were probably hoping to be caught, or they just don't care. Just stay safe out there and don't be afraid to speak up about your work. And at the very least, I feel like it came out with some amazing memes. Tracing? No. Read diddling. And I don't know why I find this absolutely hilarious that someone went to such great lengths to avoid being called a trace when they are literally tracing one for one, even overlaying their image on top, but it at least led to some amazing memes and also some backing up on the community. Of course, they had a few people that were like, oh, don't be so sensitive about tracing, but realistically, no one likes when someone just traces over their work one for one. It's rather annoying. Yes, sometimes the art community can be ridiculous, but I don't think this is even close to it. I think this is very reasonable to be annoyed about. And it's a very mature response instead of continuously fighting with them, just going, well, I'm not paying attention to you, bye bitch. And that's sometimes all you can do. Is have a laugh and move on. But going into this person, probably shouldn't say their name here, but I want to go to their page here. Seem to just be a troll account. If I'm being honest, skippity boop boop boop. I can tell they're a VTuber, and I'm not 100% sure I think they're a guy VTuber. I don't think they actually mention it anywhere, but in their videos. Oh, they're actually streaming. Clute Chlorofixin from the Palette Colorflix 3, trying to figure out wild earthling ways and understand this ununderstood, which is humor. Okay, they seem to make up words a lot. It seems to be their general thing is just to make up a bunch of words, which I find very odd. And they deleted all their backlash messages about how they're diddling, the fiddling, or whatever the frick you want to call it in here. And this was their response to it. I just wanted to go into it. It's not really that important, that much about them. They're a nobody streamer with very little followers. And realistically, their tracing didn't cause any problems other than to be ridiculous. But let's read out what their response was. Going forward, we will no longer be doing fun art stream. This means no more fun, innocent, redrawing references to make them look up other people or any other form of redrawing references. I don't think this person, English may not be their first language. I'm not sure. They don't write it well. That's all I'm going to say. And I don't think it's an innocent restoring scene. You can't just it seems very disrespectful just to go, whoa, those silly people not wanting me to trace over their stuff and then make fun of them for it. What the hell? And I find it very odd to go into the art streams and go, I'm doing art when they're just tracing over other people's work and they're not really doing any art. And obviously they got a lot of backlash here too. Not traced, they seem to still double down so hard. Like, it's traced, you just can't make up another word because you don't like it. If you don't think tracing is bad for just a bit of fun, that's fine, own that, but don't try and make up a word because it's like, you're bad, but that's not what I was doing. It's just so silly, but I guess because they use this art as a commercial, like on their page and for emotes, that is a problem because they don't have any license to use the art they are tracing. As a lot of people point here, the reason they're not doing any art streams is because they can't actually draw. They can only trace. So they could have easily gone, I'm just going to do normal art streams now because I got in trouble, but they can't draw. And that is the bigger problem here, is tracing realistically isn't drawing. But at the very least, it was hilarious. That's pretty much the entire story, you guys. Leave me a comment below, a like, don't ring the bell, and subscribe. Let me know if you like shorter stories like this, where I just give you a brief thing. They're not the biggest, baddest, most famous people in the world doing crazy stuff, but I think it's funny and it's interesting to just see these little tiffs on the internet where it, in the end, just turned into something kind of funny. Because in the end, the artist couldn't do anything, and they were very calm about it, mostly, and quite respectful. And the other person is just, let's be truthful, an idiot. But let me know in the comments below, guys. Thanks for watching, and remember, tracing is tracing. You can't make up a word to make it nicer. Okay, but I'll see you next time. You got this.